What if I told you that behind Superfly's gritty streets and cool 70s swagger, the real drama wasn't all on screen? The film that defined Blaxploitation cinema had a cast full of ambition, secrets, and untold struggles. Some found fame, others faded away, but each carried a story that fans never saw behind those stylish shades and slick suits. From unexpected romances to behind-the-scenes tension and shocking truths that almost derailed their careers, the cast of Superfly lived lives as bold as the movie itself. Here are 10 Superfly 1972 cast members revealing what most fans never knew. 1. Ron O'Neal, the fame that ruined him. When Superfly hit theaters in 1972, Ron O'Neal became an overnight sensation. His slick look, calm confidence, and unforgettable performance as Youngblood Priest turned him into one of the coolest stars of the decade. People everywhere copied his style, his suits, his walk, even his attitude, but behind all that swagger, Ron was facing a storm he didn't see coming. Hollywood wasn't ready to see a black actor in a leading role that powerful. Instead of giving him new opportunities, studios started boxing him in. Every script that came his way was another drug dealer or street hustler. Ron wanted serious, dramatic roles, but the system wouldn't let him grow. The same role that made him famous also trapped him. He tried to move behind the camera, directing Superfly TNT, hoping to break free and prove he was more than just Priest. But the movie flopped, and his career slowly faded. The fame that once lifted him became a heavy shadow he could never escape. Later, he turned to stage acting, teaching, and small TV appearances just to stay close to what he loved most, acting. Despite everything, Ron stayed proud of Superfly. He knew it had power, even if it came with pain. It opened doors for others, even if it closed some for him. When he passed away in 2004, fans didn't just remember his cool suits or smooth voice, they remembered the man who showed the world a new kind of strength, even in silence. 2. Sheila Frasier, the woman who walked away from fame. Sheila Frasier stole the spotlight the moment she appeared as Georgia in Superfly. Her charm wasn't forced. It felt real, warm, and confident. She wasn't just the girlfriend in the story. She was the calm in the chaos, the heart that balanced Priest's dangerous world. Fans adored her, and Hollywood noticed. Offers started coming in, and she was set for a huge career. But instead of chasing the spotlight, Sheila quietly stepped away. What most people never knew is that fame wasn't what she truly wanted. The sudden attention, constant pressure, and the way women were treated in the industry didn't sit right with her. She saw how other actresses struggled to get meaningful roles and how quickly Hollywood moved on when the next face appeared. So Sheila made a bold choice. She chose peace over pressure. She worked on a few other projects, appeared in some television shows, and even did modeling. But she never allowed herself to be trapped by fame. Later, she shifted her focus to behind-the-scenes work and community involvement. Away from the bright lights, she found happiness in helping others and living life on her own terms. Sheila's story isn't about disappearing, it's about choosing freedom. She proved that walking away from fame doesn't mean failure. Sometimes it means taking control of your own story. And for fans of Superfly, that makes her one of the film's most inspiring figures. 3. Carl Lee, a tragic descent. Carl Lee was unforgettable as Eddie in Superfly. He had that smooth charm and quiet intensity that made every scene feel real. On screen, he played Priest's right-hand man, the loyal friend who helped him survive in a dangerous world. But behind the camera, Carl's own world was starting to fall apart. What most fans never knew is that his real life mirrored his character's story in haunting ways. Carl had been acting long before Superfly. He worked on stage and appeared in respected films, but Hollywood didn't give him the recognition he deserved. After the movie's success, everyone thought he was set for stardom. Yet, instead of more roles, he found himself caught in a cycle of disappointment. The industry that once praised him began to forget his name. Frustration and loneliness took their toll. Carl turned to drugs to cope with the pressure and the silence that comes when calls stop coming in. Friends later revealed that he struggled deeply but tried to keep his pain private. The man who once played confident and fearless characters was battling demons no one could see. By the late 80s, his health began to fade, and the sparkle that once made him stand out dimmed. When he passed away in 1986, he was far from the fame he once had. But his performance in Superfly remains one of the film's strongest memories, a raw and emotional reminder of how fragile success can be. Carl Lee didn't just play a survivor on screen. For most of his life, he was one. 4. Julius Harris, the mentor who never got his due. In Superfly, Julius Harris played Scatter, the older, wiser figure who guides Priest and gives the story its emotional depth. His voice carried authority, and his presence filled every frame. To audiences, Scatter was more than a side character. He was the heart of the film's moral struggle. But what many fans never knew was that Julius Harris's own life story was just as powerful as any role he ever played. Before becoming an actor, Julius worked as a nurse and even served as a medic during World War II. Acting wasn't his first path, but once he started, there was no going back. His natural talent and commanding voice quickly got him noticed. Still, despite his strength and skill, Hollywood rarely gave him the spotlight he earned. He often found himself cast in supporting roles, bodyguards, tough guys, or wise mentors, while younger actors took center stage. After Superfly, Julius went on to appear in classics like Live and Let Die and King Kong, proving his versatility. But behind the scenes, he remained humble, helping younger actors find their way. He was known for giving advice, offering encouragement, and never letting bitterness take over. Julius Harris's story is one of quiet greatness. He didn't chase headlines or fame. He let his work speak for him. Even though Hollywood never fully celebrated him, his influence can be felt in every strong, fatherly character that came after. In the world of Superfly, he was Scatter. In real life, he was the man who taught others how to stand tall. 5. Charles McGregor, a real-life redemption story. Charles McGregor's performance as Fat Freddy in Superfly brought both humor and heartbreak to the film. His scenes were small, but his presence was unforgettable. What most fans never realized, though, is that Charles wasn't just acting, he was telling a version of his own life story. Before Superfly, Charles had lived a rough life. He'd spent time in prison, caught up in a world that often offered few second chances. Acting wasn't part of his plan. It became his escape. When he got the chance to audition, his real-life experience gave his performance a raw, believable edge. He didn't have to imagine what fear or desperation felt like. He'd lived it. But what makes his story remarkable is what came after. Instead of letting his past define him, Charles turned it into something powerful. He began speaking at schools, community centers, and prisons, using his fame from Superfly to reach people who felt forgotten. He told them that change was possible, that no matter how dark life got, there was always a way out. Hollywood didn't give him a long career, but that didn't matter to Charles. His biggest role wasn't in front of a camera, it was in real life, inspiring others. He became a symbol of redemption, proving that even those who fall hardest can rise again. When people watched Fat Freddy, they saw a man in trouble. But when they learned about Charles McGregor, they discovered a man who refused to stay there. 6. Curtis Mayfield, the voice behind the revolution. While Superfly was filled with unforgettable performances, its heartbeat came from one man behind the scenes, Curtis Mayfield. His music didn't just support the film, it transformed it. Every lyric, every groove, carried a message that went far beyond the screen. Curtis wasn't just writing songs, he was speaking truth. What most fans never knew is that Curtis took a huge risk when he created the soundtrack. The film's story centered on drugs and crime, but he wanted the music to challenge that lifestyle, not glorify it. Songs like Pusherman and Freddy's Dead told the real cost of that world, the pain, the loss, the desperation hiding under all that flash. His soulful sound gave the movie depth, making Superfly not just entertainment, but a social statement. Behind the fame, though, Curtis faced his own struggles. The music industry often tried to silence political voices, and his honesty made him a target. Yet, he never backed down. Even after a tragic accident later left him paralyzed, Curtis kept recording, singing, and producing. His voice might have grown quieter, but his message never did. Curtis Mayfield wasn't just the man behind the soundtrack, he was the soul of Superfly. His music gave the film its power and its purpose, turning a story about the streets into a reflection of a generation's fight for dignity. His work still echoes today, reminding everyone that truth and rhythm can change the world. 7. Polly Niles, the forgotten starlet. Polly Niles brought sophistication and mystery to Superfly when she appeared as Cynthia. Her presence added a touch of glamour that balanced the film's gritty energy. She played her part with quiet confidence, giving the story an unexpected depth. Yet, what most fans never knew is that Polly's journey through Hollywood was far more complicated than it looked on screen. Before Superfly, Polly was already making a name for herself as a model and actress. She had the look that the fashion world loved: classic beauty with a modern edge. She appeared in ads, magazines, and small television roles, slowly building her career. When she landed a role in Superfly, it felt like her big break. But success in Hollywood doesn't always guarantee stability, especially for women in the 1970s. After the film, Polly expected more opportunities to come her way. Instead, she found herself facing an industry that wasn't sure what to do with her. Roles were limited, and typecasting was common. Rather than waiting for doors to open, she quietly began stepping away. She focused on her personal life and creative projects that fulfilled her beyond fame. In later years, she appeared in a few independent productions, but never chased the spotlight again. Polly's story reminds people that not every actor dreams of endless fame. For some, art is enough, and walking away doesn't mean giving up. Even though her name isn't often mentioned when fans talk about Superfly, her performance remains part of what made the movie feel real. She may have faded from the public eye, but her quiet strength and grace continue to live on through that unforgettable role. 8. Sig Shore, the producer with a secret agenda. Behind the camera, there was a man who believed Superfly could change everything: producer Sig Shore. He wasn't an actor, but his influence shaped every frame of the movie. Sig fought to bring the story to life at a time when Hollywood refused to take black-led films seriously. What most fans never knew, though, is that Sig's passion for the project came with controversy and conflict that still sparks debate today. Sig Shore saw potential in the Blaxploitation wave sweeping through the early 70s. He believed there was a huge audience hungry for stories that reflected real urban life. But some accused him of using the movement to make money rather than support the message behind it. As a white producer in a film about Black power, Sig's involvement was viewed with both gratitude and suspicion. Tension grew between Sig and some of the cast members after the movie became a hit. Many felt underpaid, while Sig reaped the financial rewards. Rumors spread that he had manipulated contracts and controlled the creative process more tightly than he admitted. Despite the controversy, Sig insisted that without his push, Superfly might never have been made. Whatever the truth, his contribution can't be denied. Superfly became a cultural milestone, sparking conversations that went far beyond cinema. Sig Shore walked a fine line between being seen as a visionary and an opportunist. In the end, he left behind a legacy that was as complicated as the film itself: brilliant, bold, and full of contradictions. 9. The film's hidden controversies: drugs, image, and politics. When Superfly hit theaters in 1972, it didn't just entertain audiences, it started a war of opinions. Some people called it groundbreaking, others called it dangerous. The film's gritty story about a drug dealer trying to escape the game made it both celebrated and condemned. What most fans never knew was just how deep the controversy ran behind the scenes. Civil rights groups like the NAACP and the Congress of Racial Equality criticized the film, arguing that it glorified crime and sent the wrong message about Black identity. They worried it would encourage negative stereotypes rather than break them. But many in the Black community felt the opposite. To them, Superfly showed the harsh truth of urban life in a way that Hollywood had never done before. It gave a voice to people who were rarely represented with style, intelligence, or power. Curtis Mayfield's music played a big role in shaping that balance. His lyrics exposed the pain and consequences behind the glamour, forcing people to look deeper. Still, the arguments didn't stop. Politicians spoke out, newspapers debated, and the movie's success only fueled more controversy. behind it all, the cast had mixed feelings too. Some loved the attention the movie brought, while others felt uneasy about how their work was being interpreted. What no one could deny, though, was the film's influence. Superfly opened doors for other black filmmakers and proved that stories from the streets could make money and make history. In the end, Superfly became more than a movie. It was a mirror, showing a reflection that made America uncomfortable, but one it couldn't ignore. Its controversy wasn't just noise. It was part of what made it timeless. 10. The aftermath, where the cast ended up. After Superfly became a hit, life changed for everyone involved. The movie made stars out of its cast, but fame came with both blessings and heartbreak. What most fans never knew is how differently each person's story unfolded once the cameras stopped rolling. Ron O'Neal struggled with typecasting, fighting to be seen as more than the character who made him famous. Sheila Frasier chose peace over pressure, stepping away from the chaos of Hollywood. Carl Lee faced personal demons that led to tragedy, while Julius Harris continued working quietly, building a steady career in supporting roles. Curtis Mayfield went on to become a musical legend, even as life tested his spirit in unimaginable ways. For some, Superfly was the beginning of everything. For others, it became a reminder of how unforgiving fame can be. Yet, together, their work shaped an entire era of black cinema. The movie's style, music, and message inspired generations from hip-hop artists to modern filmmakers. Decades later, the legacy of Superfly still lingers. It remains one of the most influential films of the 70s, a project that challenged stereotypes while creating its own. The cast may have followed different paths, but their shared moment in history stands as proof that one small film, made on a low budget, can spark a cultural revolution. In the end, Superfly wasn't just a movie about ambition, it was a story about survival, art, and the cost of breaking boundaries. Every actor, every note, and every frame told a truth that still resonates today. Sometimes, the real story behind the fame is the one that changes everything. So, now that you've seen the secrets, struggles, and surprises behind the Superfly cast, it's clear that their real lives were just as wild as the movie itself. Fame, pain, and redemption all woven into one unforgettable story. But here's the question. How many more untold truths are still buried in Hollywood's golden past, just waiting to be uncovered? If you love diving into this one, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell because the next story will blow your mind even more.
Stacy, I would love it if you'd come home and meet them.
What if I told you the hit sitcom Living Single wasn't just about laughs, love, and friendship, but also carried secrets that fans never knew about? Behind the witty one-liners and unforgettable characters, the cast lived through hidden struggles, untold stories, and shocking truths that never made it to the screen. From real-life tensions to surprising career moves, these revelations changed the way you see the show forever. Get ready because the stars of Living Single finally reveal what most fans never discovered: Queen Latifah's risky career move. When Living Single premiered in 1993, Queen Latifah was already carving her place in music history. She had built a reputation as a bold, confident rapper who carried authority in an industry dominated by men. But stepping into the role of Khadijah James on a primetime sitcom was not an easy decision. Behind the scenes, executives and critics alike questioned whether doing comedy would damage her credibility as a serious hip-hop artist. Latifah heard the whispers that audiences wouldn't respect her if she crossed over into television, that she would lose her edge in the music world. Yet what most fans never discovered was just how fearless she truly was. She not only embraced the challenge, but also took responsibility for protecting the spirit of the show. Latifah made sure Living Single stayed authentic to black culture, even pushing back against executives who wanted to soften its identity to attract wider audiences. Playing Khadijah wasn't just acting, it was a reflection of her real-life strength as a leader, a businesswoman, and an advocate for representation. While viewers saw her running a fictional magazine, behind the curtain, she was shaping the show's direction, ensuring it stood firm against pressures to conform. It's no exaggeration to say that without her presence, Living Single might not have become the groundbreaking cultural touchstone it is remembered as today. Fans loved Khadijah for her wit and drive, but the truth is, Queen Latifah was taking risks that made history. Kim Field's secret battles. As Regine Hunter Kim Fields delivered endless laughs with her obsession for fashion, men, and luxury. She gave the show its sharp comedic edge with one-liners that became fan favorites. But beneath the surface, Fields was facing a challenge that most fans never discovered. Coming off her success as a child star on The Facts of Life, she had spent years trying to reshape her career and prove she was more than just a kid actor. When she joined Living Single, she quickly realized her character Regine could easily be misunderstood. The writers built Regine around materialism, vanity, and comedic exaggeration. But Fields worried that audiences, and worse, Hollywood executives, would see her as nothing more than a shallow performer. She pushed back, voicing her concerns that Regine needed depth, that beneath the wigs and glamorous outfits, she had to be a woman with relatable struggles. This tension with producers created stress, and at one point, Fields even considered walking away from the series. What fans also didn't know was that while she was making viewers laugh on screen, she was quietly building a career behind the camera, directing episodes of television in secret so she could transition when the show ended. Fields fought to balance her love for performing with her need to grow creatively. Fans saw Regine as a comedic diva, but the truth reveals a dedicated actress fighting for respect and carving out a future beyond the sitcom spotlight. Erica Alexander's hidden fight. Maxine Shaw was one of the most beloved characters on Living Single, a sharp-witted, no-nonsense attorney who stole nearly every scene she was in. Fans loved Erica Alexander for her comedic timing and powerhouse presence, but what most never discovered was the struggle she faced when the cameras stopped rolling. Despite her breakout success on the show, Hollywood didn't know what to do with her. Casting directors praised her talent but often dismissed her for leading roles, offering her either one-note parts or asking her to tone down the boldness that made Maxine iconic. Alexander found herself caught in the trap of typecasting, boxed into the sassy black woman role. It was a frustrating reality for an actress who had already made history as the youngest black actress to win 2 NAACP Image Awards. Even after Living Single, she had to fight for every opportunity, working tirelessly to prove her range extended beyond comedy. What fans didn't see was the resilience it took for her to keep going in an industry that didn't always reward her brilliance. Maxine Shaw gave audiences someone smart, unapologetic, and powerful to admire. But Erica Alexander's off-screen journey was just as inspiring. She had to constantly push back against Hollywood's narrow vision, fighting for roles that reflected her true talent. That hidden battle revealed how hard it was for even the most gifted actresses to be fully recognized at the time. Kim Cole's quiet exit. Kim Coles brought a bubbly, lighthearted energy to Living Single. Her innocence and quirky sense of humor made her the heart of the group, and fans adored her sweet chemistry with John Henton's Overton. Yet behind the scenes, Coles faced struggles that most fans never discovered. By the later seasons, tensions were rising between cast members and the network. Storylines were shifting, and Coles often felt that Sinclair's character wasn't being given the same focus as before. The bubbly receptionist who once carried some of the funniest scenes was slowly being sidelined. What hurt more was the lack of communication from producers about her future. Coles eventually stepped away before the final season, but fans were never told the real story. Viewers assumed it was a creative choice, but in reality, it was tied to off-screen frustrations and difficult dynamics that made it hard for her to continue. After leaving, Coles opened up about battling self-doubt and depression, something that weighed heavily on her after saying goodbye to the role that made her so beloved. Fans saw Sinclair as endlessly cheerful, but the truth reveals a woman quietly struggling with her place in the industry. Her exit was one of the biggest surprises of the series, a reminder that even in shows full of laughter, there are often unseen struggles. T.C. Carson's firing. Kyle Barker was smooth, successful, and always ready with a clever comeback. Fans loved watching T.C. Carson's chemistry with Erica Alexander's Maxine. It was one of the show's most beloved storylines. But what most fans never discovered is why Kyle disappeared in the later seasons. Carson didn't leave on his own terms, he was pushed out. Behind the scenes, he had been outspoken about how Fox treated Living Single. He saw firsthand how the network sidelined the show while pouring resources into Friends, a series with an almost identical premise. Carson raised concerns about pay inequality and lack of promotion, refusing to stay quiet when his castmates deserved better. Instead of addressing his criticisms, producers decided it would be easier to cut him loose. His firing was a devastating blow, not just to the cast but to fans who felt the loss of Kyle's charisma instantly. Carson later revealed how painful it was to be silenced for speaking the truth. For viewers, Kyle was the confident professional who had it all together. Behind the scenes, T.C. Carson was risking his career by fighting for fairness, a battle that cost him his place on the show but revealed a courage most fans never knew he carried. John Henton's tragic accident. On Living Single, John Henton played Overton Wakefield Jones, the building handyman with a big heart and endless charm. His comedic timing and lovable personality made him a fan favorite, the perfect balance to the cast's mix of bold and quirky characters. But what most fans never discovered was the tragedy that struck his life after the show ended. In 2000, just a couple of years after Living Single wrapped, Henton was involved in a devastating car accident. The crash was so severe that it left him with life-changing injuries, including damage to his face that required extensive reconstructive surgery. The easygoing smile and familiar look that fans associated with Overton were forever changed. For an actor whose career thrived on visibility, the accident became a heartbreaking obstacle. Though Henton survived, the recovery was grueling, both physically and emotionally. It forced him to step back from the spotlight, drastically slowing the momentum of a career that had once been so promising. Many fans who remembered his warmth on Living Single never knew how close he came to losing everything. What makes his story so powerful is the resilience he showed afterward. Despite the painful setback, Henton continued to perform and even returned to comedy, proving his spirit was stronger than the scars. But hidden beneath the laughter was the reminder that the cast of Living Single faced battles far beyond what audiences ever saw. His accident revealed just how fragile fame and life itself can be. Competition with friends. When Living Single debuted in 1993, it was groundbreaking, a sitcom centered around 6 black friends navigating life, love, and careers in New York City. The chemistry was electric, the writing sharp, and audiences connected instantly. But what most fans never discovered was how the show was quietly overshadowed by NBC's Friends, which premiered just a year later. The similarities between the two shows weren't coincidental. Executives saw the success of Living Single and decided to create a nearly identical series featuring an all-white cast. From that point on, Friends became NBC's golden child, promoted endlessly with big budgets and heavy marketing campaigns, while Living Single received little support. The cast of Living Single was frustrated, knowing they had built something authentic but were being sidelined in favor of a copycat show. Queen Latifah, T.C. Carson, and others spoke about how unfair it felt to watch their series ignored while Friends skyrocketed to worldwide fame. Fans at home never realized just how much this rivalry shaped the show's trajectory. While Friends dominated ratings and pop culture, Living Single remained underappreciated despite its originality. Behind the laughter and joy of the sitcom, there was an unspoken truth. The cast was fighting a battle for recognition that they were never fully given. Queen Latifah's contract power. Queen Latifah wasn't just the star of Living Single, she was also its silent protector. What most fans never discovered was how much influence she carried behind the scenes. By the early 90s, Latifah had already established herself as a force in music, and she used that star power to negotiate not just for herself, but for her castmates as well. While the network saw the show as small compared to its competitors, Latifah made sure the actors weren't being shortchanged. She pushed for fairer contracts, better pay, and respect for the ensemble, proving that she wasn't just Khadijah James on screen, but a real-life leader. Without her presence, the cast might have faced even more exploitation from an industry known for undervaluing black performers. She carried a responsibility that viewers never knew existed, balancing her own music career with protecting the integrity of the sitcom. Fans saw her running Flavor magazine with wit and determination, but behind the curtain, she was negotiating with executives, making sure Living Single remained a show where its cast could thrive. Her quiet power revealed that the series' strength came not just from its writing, but from the leadership of a woman who understood how to fight for what was fair. The cast was blindsided by cancellation. For millions of viewers, the end of Living Single felt sudden, but what fans never discovered was just how devastating the news hit the cast. After 5 seasons of laughter, love, and groundbreaking storytelling, the actors believed they had more time left. They had built a rhythm, a loyal fan base, and a cultural stamp that was undeniable. But instead of being given a proper farewell or even a respectful heads up, most of the cast found out in the most unceremonious way through industry gossip and media reports. Imagine showing up to work week after week, thinking you were part of something solid, only to hear secondhand that it was over. The cancellation was not only shocking, it was humiliating. Hollywood has always been ruthless, but this felt personal. For a show that had changed the landscape of television by putting young black professionals front and center, the lack of closure was heartbreaking. There was no grand finale designed to honor the journey, no official goodbye to wrap up loose ends. The cast had poured their souls into these characters, and the fans had built deep connections with them. To have it all end without dignity felt like a betrayal. Even decades later, cast members still talk about how abrupt and painful that ending was. It wasn't just the end of a sitcom, it was a harsh reminder that in the entertainment industry, even history-making shows could be tossed aside without warning. A Regine spin-off was planned. Regine Hunter was more than just the flashy, fashion-obsessed roommate, she was a scene stealer, the kind of character who made you laugh even when you didn't agree with her antics. Played brilliantly by Kim Fields, Regine became a fan favorite, and behind the scenes, producers noticed her magnetic pull. What fans never discovered is that at the height of the show's success, a Regine-centered spin-off was already in the works. Executives believed her high-maintenance lifestyle and endless search for love could fuel an entire sitcom on its own. Ideas for the spin-off began floating around, Regine moving to another city, navigating new friendships, and balancing her love of luxury with the harsh realities of independence. Some drafts suggested a glamorous job in fashion, others imagined her chasing wealthy suitors with hilarious outcomes. It was clear there was a serious belief in Regine as a leading lady, but just as the project began to gain traction, it was abruptly shelved. Some insiders blamed budget cuts, while others whispered that network executives simply didn't want to invest more into a black-led franchise when they were prioritizing other projects. For Kim Fields, it was a crushing disappointment. A spin-off could have cemented her as a household name beyond ensemble roles, opening doors to even bigger opportunities. Instead, the idea faded away, leaving fans with nothing but the what-ifs. To this day, many wonder what Regine's solo adventures might have looked like, and how television history could have shifted if the spin-off had come to life. Living Single wasn't just a sitcom, it was a game-changer. Behind the laughs were battles, struggles, and secrets most fans never knew. And now that you do, it's clear this show shaped television more than it was ever credited for. So here's the question: what would TV look like today if Living Single had gotten the spotlight it truly deserved? If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden truths, make sure to subscribe, tap the bell icon, and share this video. Let's keep the story of Living Single alive where it belongs, front and center. The show you think you know, A Different World, started as a simple idea and almost failed, but what most fans never realized is how much was happening behind the scenes. It was meant to be a small spin-off, but from day one, it was full of creative fights, personal struggles, and bold changes. To grasp what made this show so special and what struggles shaped it, we must rewind to its origins. The Cosby Show was the biggest television hit of its time, setting the stage for a spin-off centered on Denise Huxtable, the second oldest daughter in the Huxtable family, as she left home to attend college at the fictional Hillman College, an HBCU, historically black college and university. But the first idea for the spin-off was actually very different. Early plans imagined a show about a white student experiencing life at a historically black college, an idea that evolved significantly, eventually settling on focusing on Denise and including a white roommate to maintain the cultural contrast. This roommate role was initially given to Marisa Tomei before the concept shifted again. The production started off in chaos. 4 pilot episodes and several scenes were scrapped due to poor quality, and the show nearly didn't premiere. The network brought in choreographer and actress Debbie Allen to revamp the series, who would completely turn its fortunes around. Despite the rocky start, the launch in 1987 placed the show in a primetime slot between The Cosby Show and Cheers, instantly attracting millions of viewers, but good ratings didn't equate to smooth sailing. Critics initially panned the show as dull and unrealistic, with the first season scoring just 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. The depiction of college life at Hillman was accused of being superficial. Students weren't shown attending classes or genuinely engaging in academic life, which made the setting feel inauthentic. Still, the audience was captivated. Trouble behind the scenes soon grew over the main star, Lisa Bonet, who played Denise Huxtable, when she and her husband, Lenny Kravitz, announced her real-life pregnancy after season 1, producer Debbie Allen wanted to incorporate this into the storyline to create a powerful narrative about a pregnant college student. Bill Cosby disagreed strongly, refusing to allow Denise to be pregnant on the show because it clashed with the wholesome image of the Huxtable family he wanted to maintain. The result was Lisa Bonet's character being written out of the series entirely, a decision that cast a shadow over the production. The atmosphere behind the scenes became tense and unpleasant, especially for Bonet. Fellow cast member Jasmine Guy later revealed that producers often treated Lisa disrespectfully in front of the live studio audience and refused to moderate their behavior. Guy herself was so troubled by this treatment that she attempted to quit in protest but stayed after discussing her concerns with producers. Debbie Allen stepped in with a bold new vision for the show. She overhauled everything to bring real authenticity to the depiction of HBCU life. Allen was a Howard University alumna and used her own experiences to guide the rewrite of scripts, set design, and character development. The campus hangout spot, The Pit, was redesigned to look like a real college restaurant, with visible kitchen staff and more natural interactions. Under Allen's leadership, the cast also grew closer, and the show shifted from focusing on Denise to becoming a true ensemble series. Her focus on group dynamics brought characters like Whitley Gilbert, Jasmine Guy, and Dwayne Wayne, Kadeem Hardison, to center stage, eventually making their on-screen romance one of the most beloved relationships in TV history. The writing team, led by Allen, took unprecedented steps to ensure realism. They took yearly field trips to Atlanta to visit actual HBCUs such as Spelman and Morehouse College, conducting interviews with students and faculty, which inspired many storylines. Allen empowered the actors by inviting them to submit story ideas, some of which made it to episodes, making the cast feel truly invested. With Debbie Allen at the helm, a different world transformed into a show unafraid to tackle serious social issues. It addressed racism, classism, domestic violence, date rape, apartheid, HIV, AIDS, and colorism, at a time when such topics were rarely covered on sitcoms. This blend of humor, romance, and hard-hitting themes gave the show depth and relevance, forging a cultural dialogue. Meanwhile, unseen to fans, the cast members formed close bonds and off-screen relationships that sometimes mirrored their on-screen chemistry. The romance between Kadeem Hardison, Dwayne, and Cree Summer, Freddie, was real and lasted several years during the show's height. They bonded over shared interests like motorcycles and comics before their relationship blossomed into love. Prior to dating Cree, Hardison was secretly smitten with Jasmine Guy, but the age difference and timing complicated things. Similarly, Daryl M., Belle Ron Johnson, and Tempest Bledsoe, Vanessa from The Cosby Show, developed a long-lasting relationship off-screen, revealing a softer side to the cast's dynamics. One of the show's most iconic moments came with the episode where Dwayne crashes Whitley's wedding to stop her from marrying another man. Both Hardison and Guy originally disliked the script, fearing it was unrealistic and damaging to their characters. During filming, Hardison froze on camera but improvised an emotional plea that turned the scene into a legendary TV moment, beloved by fans. The show's bravery often extended beyond storylines to battles with network executives and advertisers. An episode tackling the HIV/AIDS crisis encountered fierce opposition from sponsors who threatened to pull funding. Debbie Allen enlisted Whoopi Goldberg to guest star, lending star power that helped the episode air and achieve the highest ratings in the show's history. The cast's post-show lives also reveal hidden struggles and successes. Sinbad, Walter Oakes, left to become a stand-up comedy star but suffered a major stroke in 2020, leading to a painful recovery journey. Daryl M. Bell faced a difficult public family lawsuit over his father's estate while still acting. Dawn Lewis, who co-wrote the show's theme, spoke candidly about barriers faced by black actresses after her time on screen. Cree Summer quietly became one of the most successful voice actresses ever, lending her voice to over 100 characters in beloved shows such as Rugrats and Tiny Toon Adventures. Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison continued to work steadily in TV and film, gaining respect as actors and activists. After 6 seasons, A Different World left a lasting imprint on television and culture. It played a major role in increasing interest and enrollment in real HBCUs across the nation by showcasing black college life with dignity and complexity. The series inspired a devoted fanbase that keeps its legacy alive decades later. In 2025, the legacy continues with a new sequel series beginning production in Atlanta. This fresh take will explore a new generation of students at Hillman College, centering on the youngest daughter of Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert. Cast members Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy are returning to headline the reboot, bridging past and present. Through off-screen struggles, creative clashes, and revolutionary storytelling, A Different World rose from near failure to become a groundbreaking classic. The real story behind the show is one of resilience, authenticity, and fearless commitment to telling stories that mattered. Fans who thought they knew Hillman College soon learned that behind the laughter was a deep and unbreakable heart. From the inception of A Different World, the ambition was clear to showcase life at a historically black college with real depth and authenticity. But behind that ambition were many battles to bring the vision to life. The original pilot was completely different from what fans eventually saw. Early in development, the show was planned to star Denise Huxtable, but also introduce a white roommate to explore cultural contrasts experienced at HBCUs. The role was initially slated for future star Marisa Tomei, but as the creative direction shifted, so did casting choices and storylines. The chaotic start involved scrapping 4 pilot episodes and multiple rewrites, which required a last-minute overhaul. When the show premiered in September 1987, it was slotted between television titans The Cosby Show and Cheers, a prime placement that helped it win a large audience despite harsh initial reviews. Early critical reception was brutal, with many accusing the show of lacking realism. Viewers questioned why college students were rarely shown attending classes or engaging in serious academic work. Critics labeled the series as fluffy and superficial, assigning it a mere 11% rating on Rotten Tomatoes in its first season. But the audience connected with the characters and their relationships, keeping the show alive. Behind the scenes, tensions simmered over creative control and cast treatment. The departure of Lisa Bonet, who played Denise, marked a turning point. After announcing her real-life pregnancy, a storyline incorporating it was vetoed by Bill Cosby to protect the character's pure image, leading to Bonet's exit. The treatment she endured from producers was later described as disrespectful and hostile by fellow cast members. Debbie Allen's arrival signaled a new era. A Howard University graduate herself, Allen was determined to infuse the show with genuine HBCU culture and address issues often avoided by network television. She revamped sets, introduced realistic wardrobe styles, and incorporated morning workouts to bring energy and discipline. The series shifted focus to an ensemble cast, especially highlighting characters Whitley Gilbert, Jasmine Guy, and Dwayne Wayne, Kadeem Hardison. Their slow-building romance became a fan favorite and one of TV's iconic couples. Allen also took the writers on field trips to actual HBCUs, weaving real student experiences into episodes, making the show more authentic. A Different World became a trailblazer for socially conscious television. It bravely tackled topics such as racism, colorism, sexual assault, date rape, apartheid, and the AIDS epidemic. In 1991, the show faced sponsor backlash over an HIV/AIDS episode, but persevered by bringing in Whoopi Goldberg to guest star, ensuring the message reached a wide audience. Off-screen romances mirrored the show's passion. The real-life relationship between Kadeem Hardison and Cree Summer lasted several years and started from a genuine friendship rooted in shared hobbies. Other cast members also found love and friendship through the series, showcasing a bond that transcended the screen. One of the show's most memorable scenes, Dwayne interrupting Whitley's wedding, was controversial among the actors who felt it was unrealistic. However, the emotional improvisation during filming turned it into a defining TV moment. The cast went through personal struggles as well. Sinbad suffered a debilitating stroke in 2020, but continues to recover with family support. Daryl M. Bell faced legal challenges involving his family estate during the show's run, while Dawn Lewis spoke openly about industry obstacles faced by black actresses. Voice actress Cree Summer built a legendary career beyond the show, becoming a prolific presence in animated series. Meanwhile, Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison sustained long, varied acting careers, branching into directing and activism. A Different World's influence is undeniable. It inspired increased enrollment at HBCUs and broadened representation on television. Fans continue celebrating its legacy through reunions, and a 2025 sequel series centered on the next generation at Hillman College, keeping the spirit alive. If you enjoyed diving into the untold stories of a different world, what moment from the show or its behind-the-scenes history surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your memories and reactions. And if you want more deep dives into the hidden histories of your favorite shows, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the next story.